Hello, here's 9 tips to help you with the Lost Skies Island Creator. Number 1, F will focus on a target. It also changes the camera's pivot for when you hold Alt and left click. Number 2, okay, this one I learned in the Discord. If you're building underground or in a dark area, click this lighting tab. It's hard to see, but there's a checkbox here for lighting preview. The delete key will also toggle this, but it will delete your assets, so make sure you don't have anything selected when you do it. Number 3, if you need to place walls, look at this box right here in the drop down. This will affect, it says it will affect the material, but it's basically the decal, like the little design on everything. Number 4, save iteration. Make sure to save often, but also incrementally change the name, just in case you need to go back or somehow the save becomes corrupted. Number 5, grouping objects can save you tons of time. Instead of manually placing the beams, you can make a grid, select all the items, make it into a group, and you can copy it around and easily manipulate it the way you want. Number 6, type in the inspector. If you're creating something like this and need sharp corners, it's faster and easier just to type 90 in the inspector. Sometimes I'll rotate the gizmo so I can see what numbers change, that way I know which field to type in. Number 7, editing the pivot. Edit pivot is amazing for rotating things that have an awkward pivot point, like this metal beam that didn't line up. Instead of moving and rotating with the gizmo handles, duplicate the object and move it slightly and group them. You need a group to edit the pivot. Now click this button here and carefully move its rotation point to where you need it. After you line things up, break the group and delete the duplicate. This is kind of a bonus tip. If you combine tip 5 and 7, you can make some cool radial patterns. See, I throw together this arrow thing, and then I make it into a group and move its pivot to here. Now I can duplicate the whole group and rotate it 90 degrees. Duplicate and rotate 180. Duplicate the original again and rotate 270. If you're bad at math like me, I believe you can just type -90 and the editor will set it to 270. Anyways, group all this together and duplicate it and rotate it one more time. I just threw that together really fast to show you how quickly you can combine things, but I'm sure if you put some real thought into the design, you could make something really awesome. Number 8, using physics to place things. If you need to quickly create rubble, you can lay out some random small rocks. The large rocks won't work for this. Now group them together and duplicate. Move the group over to the target area and hit Start Simulating. This will use the in-game physics to place all the rocks. Cool, right? As long as you leave the original group, you can keep copying them and dropping them over and over. If for some reason you need to clean up, everything is still actually grouped, so just select one of the objects and delete everything at once. Number 9, the player dummy. This one I picked up from the Bossa livestream. I guess in Worlds Adrift, people were always trying to make these skeletons as a storytelling element of what had happened. So the devs added these ragdolls that can use physics to lie down in different positions. That's pretty neat. Now, you know I have to try this. Man, that is really funny looking. This last thing is not really a tip, it's just something that I thought was cool. In this room, the switch deactivates a force field which drops boulders on you. Now, you can't take damage in the editor, but I think that might make an interesting trap. Also, I made these platforms over here and made a working version of all the traps. I thought this would be really useful so people could just load up the world and see how it's all put together. When I was checking out some of the other creators' worlds, I noticed there was no way to change modes, making it impossible to see all the little connections. Oh well, If you want to check it out anyways, I uploaded it as Puzzle Lab, all one word. Before I wrap things up, I had a comment on my quarry video about how to make buildings quicker. I think the solution is to use groups to make prefabs. It's basically pre-built parts of a building that are switched out and combined. Here I make a small room, then combine into a group, copy it around, then break the group and move the part. Now this big room can be copied and manipulated to have some variance. You can move the selected object to make sure you got everything before making the group. Hold Shift to add more objects and Control to deselect them. Now that I have a bunch of parts made, it's easy to copy them and make different configurations. Here I make a quick dungeon. I stack modules to make a multi-story building. And the same thing here to make a tower. If you want to make a huge room, copy the prefab a few times, then break the groups and delete the inner walls. Well, I thank you for watching and I hope this was helpful. Take care and have a good one.